Morning, guys. April 27th, 2018. Everything new under the sun. Remember, I've said in the last good number of videos that I think 2018 is going to be a big year for Bible prophecy. And I think something big is possible to happen on the anniversary of Israel becoming a nation, which is May 14th, 2018, because they became a nation on May 14th, 1948. Well, the former head of the IDF intelligence seems to agree with me. This will be Israel's most dangerous May since 1967. And so all the enemies of Israel are going to be planning something, most likely for May. It's a symbolic month, obviously, for Israel. And this is going to be the most dangerous, apparently, since 1967. Again, this is the head of IDF intelligence. Former chief of Israel's defense forces believes the upcoming month of May, that's in a couple of days here, could be the most dangerous Israel has faced since before the 1967 Six-Day War. When I look at the month of May, I say there wasn't a month of May so dangerous since 1967, said Amos Yadlin in an interview with the Israeli daily Yedioth Ahronoth. In May 1967, the security situation in the Middle East began to deteriorate as Egypt expelled UN peacekeepers from the Sinai and 3 Arab nations mobilized forces against Israel's border. Remember in 1968, the Six-Day War, that was a miraculous event where Israel got wind of a great invasion by the Arab nations surrounding it and actually did a preemptive strike with the small number of aircraft and fighter jets that they had, and did huge damage to the war that the Arab neighbors were looking to do imminently, effectively, at the time when they did the preemptive strike in Egypt. And so it's interesting that he's comparing it to 1967. Israel launched a preemptive strike in early June and decisively defeated Egypt, Jordan, and Syria at the time. In the last Independence Day ceremonies, I was reminded of the Independence Day ceremonies of '67. The Jerusalem parade was, everyone was satisfied, but they didn't pay attention to the beginning of the developments that snowballed into the Six-Day War. So the Six-Day War came out of the May celebrations. Yadlin warned Israeli complacency and overconfidence, warned against it, rather. And indeed, the IDF will get overconfident. Israel will get overconfident. And this is why they get overrun in Gog-Magog. Because God still needs the Jews, the Jewish people, to recognize Jesus Christ as Messiah. So he's set it up, I think, in world history to play out as it will, to the place where Israel almost gets destroyed. And they can't rely on the IDF anymore, and they're certainly not relying on the U.S., because the U.S. is taken out of the scene, likely by economic collapse. So let's look for that this year in 2018. So the IDF isn't able to protect Israel, and they will recognize Jesus Christ as Savior. That's what the end-time Bible prophecy speaks to. He pointed Israel's failure to predict the 1973 Yom Kippur War, in which Egypt and Syria caught Israel unaware on its holiest day. So there's a history, there's a track record of the nations warring against Israel to attack on the holy days, because that's when the least number of people are watching and paying attention and ready for a conflict. And so Egypt and Syria inflicted heavy casualties on the Jewish state before being defeated by the IDF. When the heads of state talk about Israel as a superpower, it also reminds me of the noises from 73, Yadlin stated. So let's be more modest, more careful, and understand where we're going, he says. Again, this is Israel's intelligence, former intelligence head, speaking about these, and really comparing this May, in a couple of days here, to anything as bad as, all the way back to 1967. Well, Yadlin pointed at recent escalations between Israel and Iran in Syria. In February, an Iranian drone infiltrated Israeli airspace. It was later found to be laden with explosives, apparently for a terror attack. So, of course, Israel took it out. They recovered the aircraft so they could do research on it, so that the IDF could figure out what it was made of, etc. Last week, Israel reportedly struck a Syrian airfield, also used to control Iranian drones. Iran promised strong retaliation for the strike. And I'm having the next video, rather, is an article about Israel threatening to directly attack Iran. So direct threats be happening between Iran and Israel. Remember, Israel is fighting a proxy war right now, but it's quickly turning into a state-to-state war, a country-to-country war, an overt war between nations. Yadlin related the escalation to a recent statement by top Iranian official. The deputy commander of the Revolutionary Guard said his army can erase Israel and destroy the Air Force, and so the only thing we can do is to escape into the sea, said Yadlin. Now, there will come a point where they will escape. There's going to be a remnant that escapes into Rock City, Petra, and that's in Jordan, where they're going to be preserved for a time, but that's not coming yet. But Israel will escape somewhere at one point. And what we really should do is an overview, a timeline of Bible prophecy as it relates to the escape into Petra and the downfall of the IDF, where they start to collapse, and where Israel eventually recognizes Jesus as Messiah. These things are coming down the pipe, but to look at the overall timeline, I think, would be interesting. So, from a military point of view, he can't threaten the existence of the state of Israel. He can't even harm the Air Force. Nonetheless, Yadlin continued, and that's speaking to the confidence they have in the IDF. So they don't need confidence in a Messiah. They don't need to call upon God yet, because all their confidence is in the IDF. But God has a plan for that. He has a plan to bring Israel back and to point Israel and get Israel to put their faith in God again, because they will have no alternative. Yadlin continued, Israel must exercise extreme caution in dealing with Iran. A preventative strike doesn't absolutely have to involve the danger of a full-scale confrontation, he said, and I hope the people who sit in the cabinet room and intelligence and security services know how to differentiate between when to go for the head of the Iranian snake in places that we can't tolerate Iranian entrenchment in Syria, and on the other hand, expelling every last Iranian from Syria. That's an unrealistic and incorrect goal. So they want to take out Iran, but they don't necessarily have to cleanse Syria of, Iranian soldiers, etc. Yadlin also noted the Palestinian March of Return along the Gaza border, which will intensify as Palestinians mark Nakba Day next month, on which they lament their failure to annihilate the nascent state of Israel in 1948. In addition, Trump will be making his decision on whether to dump his predecessor's nuclear deal with Iran, and again, that's going to open up floodgates for war in the region. This could influence Iran's decision to retaliate against Israel. I think if there is no deal there, then Iran would just be wide open to go ahead against Israel. All these things together enter the month of May, Yadlin said. The Israel-Iran issue and the Iranian retaliation, Trump's decision on the agreement with Iran, and also the Palestinians' March of Return on May 15th. So world history is culminating, it appears, for May 15th, 2018, for some large prophetic milestones to occur, which really themselves catapult the Middle East into end-time Bible prophecy and some of the prophetic battles that are to come. So does Isaiah 17 get kicked off post May 15th and into June, just like the Six-Day War in 1967. These are the prophetic battles that we're looking ahead to, and significant things. And like I say, the IDF and this former IDF intelligence officer ahead warning that May is going to be a big deal. And I do believe, and I don't know if he believes in Bible prophecy. I don't know if he's reading his Bible. But that's what I've been saying last number of months, indeed, if you've been watching my videos. 2018 is going to be massively prophetically significant. And I think the May is going to be significant as these countries that hate Israel are going to try and do something while Israel is celebrating the 70th anniversary since becoming a state. And that's really also serves as a poke in the eye, as it relates to Nakba Day for the Palestinians and the other nations. It's a poke in the eye to say that, you know what, you never were able to deal with Israel, and you have had several chances to deal with Israel in war. And so that infuriates them even more. It makes them more angry and more interested in attacking them. And I think now that Iran has an ally in Russia, I think Iran is feeling very confident. And if you take out the nuclear deal, that effectively gives Iran the green light to go ahead and do whatever it wants at that point. I don't think the U.S. is going to attack Iran at any point near right now. That's not kind of on the table right now. Even if the nuclear deal is struck down, Iran will probably go back to development. They've probably been developing it secretly, nuclear weapons this whole time. They probably also have nuclear warheads from North Korea. Another article I saw was North Korea has apparently suggested that they want to have peace with South Korea. And I have to look at that article more, but that's kind of the latest news, that Kim Jong-un has basically agreed to peace between the two countries. So that's big. So you have the countries in the world kind of lining up for peace, because there will come a day when the world says, peace, peace. But sudden destruction will come upon them, as the Bible states. So North Korea, South Korea, we would expect some peace to be made there, statements of peace. And then we'll expect some peace to be considered in the Middle East as well, as some of these battles come to a head. And then soon, I think, a one world leader, the Antichrist, who may not be possessed yet, but will come into a position where he will look at these wars that are just on the brink of occurring and make some sort of deal and allow Israel to set up their third temple. And the whole world will say, peace, peace. And at that point, that's when sudden destruction comes upon them. We can see all these things lining up. We can see the timeline. We can see these milestones occurring, which are really countdown timers, if you will, of the end-time prophetic battles and Bible prophecy and the whole timeline of the 7-year tribulation, etc. So incredible things happening. Strap yourselves in. Put your seatbelts on. I think May is going to be an incredible month prophetically. Stay tuned. Hope you know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. He's coming back soon. We only have, I think, maybe 10 years left, 3 years until the 7-year tribulation starts, plus or minus a couple of years, and maybe that all starts sooner. Maybe that is all compressed a bit more, because the Bible does say that the time is shortened in the last days because of the saints, because of the elect. So I'll leave it there, guys. This is from aljameener.com, this particular article. I'll put the link in the description. You can check it out, but significant. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.